It can be hard to get your big idea started, to write the first lines of code for software that will change the world, to hire the team that will make your dream a reality. That's why we built a different cloud, one that's comprehensive without complexity, that gets you up and running in minutes and stays with you every step to happier developers, and happier developers get better results. Build with us. Grow with us at DigitalOcean.
Was I going to open this without being muted and no one being able to hear me on this audio format?
There you go. Welcome to Cloud Chats, everyone. This is episode 12 of season 2. And today's date, for those of you listening in the future, is the 19th of May, 2022. This episode is titled Spam Bots, KubeCon Updates, and a special guest returns.
Well, hello.
Welcome back, Mason.
It's been a minute. It's been a long minute. But we're back. It's been a long minute, and it also has felt like it's no time has passed at all. So
yeah.
That is the state of time in 2022, where it is both infinitely long and infinitely short all at the same time.
Yeah. So, for those that haven't been following you, what have you been up to since you left DO?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm at Gretel AI now, which is a synthetic data company, which is really interesting. And we'll go over more about what synthetic data is in our word of the week. But, you know, basically standing up and leading a developer relations team at a new company, trying to get the next dev advocate hired, and just, you know, all the things that I took for granted that I had at DigitalOcean. I have to build all that from scratch. It's like, oh yeah, I can't just ask like Kirby to go tweet this. I have to go get this tweeted now. So just been doing that. I got to go to PyCon, spent a week out there, managed to get COVID. That was fun. But I recovered pretty well. Like, I've got a slight cough still. I was very fortunate that, you know, I was, you know, vaxxed and boosted. And the worst, I had like a fever for about half a day. And then like some just like weird, like nasal. Honestly, if it hadn't been for the fever, I would have totally written it off as allergies, as I probably have done for the last 3 years, because I live in Texas, where all of the trees are in active open warfare with everybody's nose here.
Sure. All year round, aren't they?
All year round.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that have got COVID and not realized at some point.
Yeah, but I went and got the test, and I was like, oh, it's you know it's there whenever the result line turns red before the baseline does.
Yep.
I was like, oh wow, okay. So
I've got strong COVID.
Yes, very fortunate that, you know, it was a very mild case for me, and I'm pretty sure my partner has gotten it too, but they have had no symptoms, so maybe they're asymptomatic, or who knows. The world's a weird place. Let's just say that. But in that, PyCon was great. I missed being in person at PyCon. Salt Lake City was surprisingly enjoyable. Sorry to all of you from Salt Lake City. I had nothing to. I didn't know what to think. I was used to 2 years in Cleveland, and I absolutely just don't like Cleveland. And Salt Lake City was actually really, really nice. I enjoyed it so much so I was like, I'm gonna put Utah in the short list of maybe places I might move to one day, just because.
Oh, fair enough. So let's have a look in chat. Thomas knows the drill. I haven't even said it yet, but Thomas says hello from Minneapolis. So if you're in chat, say hi. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to see the global reach of these shows. We've got a LinkedIn user. Why does LinkedIn do this? Saying hello from Pune, India.
Nice.
Hello.
Also, Airbox and Andrew and Bleep and Avnish all say hi specifically to Mason.
Mason. Not us, just Mason.
I mean, I get it. It's fine.
It's fine. Everyone's missed you, Mason. What have we got? We got Tech saying hi from Bhutan again. Nice to see a familiar name. I got to butcher this. Chimaubim from Nigeria. Hello. Bleeb from the Netherlands. Also a very familiar name.
Did not know they were from the Netherlands.
Well, it's possibly the first time we've been told this. And we got Bobby from Sofia. Hello.
Oh, it's Bobby. It's always
Bobby. There's lots of familiar names. I'm sure you remembered some of these people, Mason.
Oh yeah, I remember a lot of them. Yes, Andrew's right. Salt Lake City is a really clean city. And their sidewalks are like 3 times larger than any sidewalk I've ever seen in my life. It's almost bigger than the road.
Are they like a walking, biking first kind of place?
Not really.
Why
It's
did I
just
think
a
it was
big-
mountains there?
It's just there are mountains. Salt Lake City's like in
Okay.
a valley.
Okay.
Okay. We've got Zam in chat saying hi from somewhere near you. I thought it's an improvement
That
on
is
like
ominous.
previous weeks where you've been on Mars. So welcome back to Earth.
Yes.
Given the distance between Matt and the rest of us, that is definitely something.
Yeah, somewhere near Earth at last. And Alex asks us, what's that he, him, she, her on your IDs? Pronouns, so you know how to address us if you need to.
Yep.
And we got Swellen saying hi from St. Lucia.
Where's that at?
Caribbean,
Ah, okay.
right?
I learn more about geography from Cloud Chats than I do anything else. It's like, oh, that's a place. Good to know.
Well, with that, I think we've introduced Mason. If you're in chat and you've got questions for Mason, given he's been away for a while, feel free to jump them in there and we will take a look at them as we go. But let's jump into the news.
Yes, this is the news.
We got a lot of news this week. Let's bring it up. Here we go. First news item of the week. Twitter introduces Twitter Circle to allow tweeting to a limited audience.
Yay.
I know I said that I've said this a lot since this news came out. Just because this feature has existed before, but it existed on Google Plus, a platform that no one used it, and it was the best feature of it because there's a lot of tech stuff that happens on my timeline, and they don't need to know my rants about football or Dungeons and Dragons. And it's gotten to the point that I'm so lazy at trying to change all of that now you just have to hear all of it, and I'm not sorry about that.
Yeah, so to me, this seems like it's building on a lot of the stuff they put in place for the limited reply feature. So I think a lot of the controls are going to be very similar to that, but this just outright stops you seeing the tweet unless you're in that circle.
And now people just need to be able to access it, and then it'll be great.
And of course, yeah, in standard Twitter fashion, this is being slowly rolled out to a very limited subset of people. So good luck ever actually using it.
I feel like I'm always on their last rollout wave because I don't get it until the entire internet has it. Yes,
Very true.
it's exactly like scoping on LiveJournal. Exactly, Tune On Your Captain.
Yeah. I say it's
also
not a
like
novel
Tune On Your
concept.
No.
But it's novel for Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, all they do is just steal each other's ideas. They're all basically the same thing now.
There you go.
They
First hot
turn
take
off
of the day.
stuff.
Alrighty.
I'm surprised it
a
took
hot
us
take,
that.
or it was a very mild spike.
Oh, it's pretty
Yeah.
mild, but you know.
I mean, let's go join a Twitter clubhouse. I mean, space.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next up, Flutter 3 has been released. This was announced, I think, at or after Google I/O, which happened last week. Lots of stuff. It's a major release of Flutter. Some pretty cool things I noticed, though. M1 support. We're seeing this more and more in assorted things as they get released. Nice to see. And actually, generally, macOS and Linux support is now stable in Flutter, which supposedly wasn't the case before. So there you go. Has anyone ever used Flutter?
Nope.
I tried to once, but it came out as a mobile first framework, and I was not a mobile developer, so everything it was trying to do was both extremely interesting but also very targeted at something I didn't like to do. So
Fair enough.
it works really well, and it does power a lot of Android native apps. I don't like mobile development is hard, and I basically like database engineering, which is easy. I love
Yep.
data programming is so much easier. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
there's no UI to worry about then.
It's
Alrighty.
people. People are hard.
Yeah, people are hard, devices are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. Flutter 3's out if you use Flutter and are interested. Next up, this is pretty cool. Having us had a slight go at NVIDIA last week for the whole mining situation again, they've actually done something pretty cool. They've open sourced the GPU kernel modules at last.
Ooh.
So for the longest time, all of like NVIDIA's drivers and stuff have been super closed source. And so if
Yeah.
you're not on a platform they support, you're straight out of luck.
Yeah, unless you have someone who's dedicated to reverse engineering it, which I've seen happen.
Oh yeah, that definitely used to happen, but
Yeah.
this should make it a bit easier. So yeah, I don't know what really more there is to say here. I'm most definitely not in this space to know enough about what's happening here. Interesting licensing, I noticed.
What is it?
Dual GPL and MIT.
I wonder if that's going to help the driver situation or make it worse.
Yeah, I think will be interesting to see, but at least the code is there. So even if it doesn't actually get used, it's a reference point.
Yeah.
So there you go. NVIDIA is doing
My
something
drivers
pretty
are
cool.
always giving me problems.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to compile NVIDIA kernel modules anymore. Every time I used to update Fedora when I ran Fedora, it's like, okay, we get to, especially when my graphics card was a newer card. Now it's so old that they have the kernel modules for all of them. But like when I first built my PC and I was installing Fedora, it's like, okay, you got to go build your own kernel module. It's like, oh, this is so much fun. Not.
Zaman chat says better Linux gaming. I think maybe is probably the best response there. Not directly, but I think this opens up the door to that being improved significantly.
God dang.
Alrighty. Our final release this week.
I'm so angry.
Oh, too low, Captain. Good one. Yeah, our final release. This comes out of. We talked a huge amount last week about Cloudflare's platform week. It rounded up over the weekend. And this was one of the final things they announced. Cloudflare workers now support emails, both in and out. The inbound stuff kind of builds on Cloudflare's email routing that they've already supported for a while. And you can now have a Cloudflare worker process your email. So you can write JavaScript to process emails and do like, I don't know, send a Slack notification when you get an email.
I kind of love this.
That is pretty cool.
One of the first use cases whenever someone tries to pick up any kind of like fast or serverless learning is always this is how you send an email on a trigger, and it's always something like that. So having to not have to go through a tutorial to get that working. I'm sure that there's a tutorial, but I'm sure it's going to be much easier, much more optimized now.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot less kludging of stuff together that you don't understand.
Looking at what they've got
Anyone
in the
else
blog
remember
post
email
here,
servers? They're hard.
it's
email's really hard.
simple.
Email's such a pain.
Yeah, there you go. Pricing, 100,000 emails a day for free.
What?
Okay.
One time I accidentally war dialed all of the leadership over at the research center I worked for when I was working at NASA.
Oh my goodness.
I was testing something and it was a bad situation. It was an accident, but that's how it happens when you try to deploy things on a weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I think also just email generally.
Yeah.
Like of all the things I work with, email related stuff always terrifies me because there's no turning back.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's pretty cool if you want to play around with emails. Life is a bit easier for you. And now we go into main thread stuff, where it gets really spicy.
Yay.
So, first up,
Yay.
this was announced this morning. Glitch has been acquired by Fastly.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Glitch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this will actually be really interesting. Fastly, for those that don't know, is kind of similar to Cloudflare. They're a CDN company. They do edge compute as well. So I think it's pretty interesting. I can see a future where Glitch runs properly on edge and competes really heavily with Cloudflare workers.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is if that was the positioning they were going for. Not that any of us would know specifically, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah, I can see it. I thought it'd be interesting though, because Glitch is properly full stack. I think, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, which is kind of been a novel concept for edge computing. Most do kind of stateless request processing stuff.
I wonder I've always wondered what that line is between edge computing and just deploying more data centers and distributing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this feels like it
Unless
leans
that's all it
more
is.
towards that, right?
Right.
Where it's going to be able to say, run my Glitch project in all of Fastly's data centers.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what it really boils down to. Is that's all it is.
It
Well,
feels
it's-
like
it's-
it, right?
It's also more validation that tech communities that have tech companies that build an educational community around them tend to do pretty well, and it seems
Yeah.
to be a thing that, like, it's just validating like the rise of DevRel and all of that.
Totally. They have one of the best DevRel teams I've seen.
But there you go. An exciting future for Glitch looks to be ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you see an acquisition and you go, that's not going to go well. But this one, I don't know. I have a lot of faith in it. I think it will go super well for both sides.
I'm excited.
Spicy takes only ahead.
Alrighty. We're going to get a bit spicier. We've got a Meta article here.
Which is always great.
Yep. So Meta Open Source, formerly known as Facebook Open Source, is transferring Jest to the OpenJS Foundation. So Jest, for those who don't know, testing framework for JavaScript, OpenJS Foundation, part of the Linux Foundation, I think. I think it's somewhere in that family. Looks after things like Node itself. So makes sense that Jest is being handed over. But it's just an interesting move from Facebook or Meta.
Very surprising, honestly. Did not see them really donating any of their tech to an open source foundation. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
And
Weirdly.
it makes you wonder, though, if Jest is okay to be transferred,
Why not anything else?
what about React? I'm just
You're
going to throw that out there.
I think you're getting a little too ahead of yourself there, Matt.
But yeah, there you go. I thought it was a pretty interesting one. It's a very PR article. There's a huge amount in here like, why are we doing this?
Who are these people involved? What is it?
Who are these people? Why are we doing this? What even is Jest? It's a very marketing article, but the TLDR is it's being handed over as a project. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is good for Jest. The OpenJS Foundation is pretty good with their stewardship. But yeah, I don't know. I could see a world where React joins OpenJS.
At least we know that the path exists now. If anybody should ever take it,
Yeah. Meta's not completely afraid of handing over projects.
well, they did it once. So
Yeah, we'll see if they do it again.
Also, just a side note here that I found quite interesting. This whole site is now branded as Engineering at Meta, but it's still fb.com.
Well, yeah. Why would we change domains? That's just painful.
Yeah, that's just, confusing. But anyway,
also, I don't think anyone outside of their very specific engineering market would ever actually call it Meta. No one does that.
No.
Does anyone has actually switched in conversation to start saying Meta instead of Facebook? I haven't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same question, right? As no one refers to Google as Alphabet.
Yeah.
You never hear it mentioned as Alphabet.
But
anyway,
Alphabet also has a bunch of products that are not Google specific.
true.
Meta is Facebook
does
and
Meta.
Instagram, and
Instagram's not Facebook, right?
I mean, they also got the Oculus.
True.
So
do they?
yeah, Meta and Facebook own Oculus.
Wasn't there something about that being sold or handed over?
No, I don't think so. I think Meta still owns it.
They did.
Googling. Oculus Quest. Real-time Googling. Here we go. Oculus.com. I'm doing this in the wrong tab. Oh no, it is MetaQuest. It's still owned by Meta.
Yeah, they're not giving that up. They paid a lot of money for that.
I don't know. Actually, I'm going to acknowledge this comment because it's interesting. Airbox asks, do you think we need Jest after Node 18? It's an interesting question. Last week we talked about Node 18 because it now has a testing framework built right into Node. And I said last week, I think it will be an interesting future for testing frameworks. And I stand by that.
I think for now you still need a legacy testing framework because you're not going to have everything running on Node 18, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say a lot of big projects run their test suite across multiple different Node versions.
Right.
And Node's testing framework isn't going to support that until many versions in the future when Node 18 is the oldest version that people support.
I'm gonna.
Oh dear.
The problem is Chad has figured out I will highlight any comment that has a pun in it. And that is the problem right now.
Oh dear. This is good. I appreciate the jokes. And Two Army Captain follows up. Is the Node 18 testing framework a drop-in replacement to replicate all of the features of Jest or whatever? Definitely not currently. It's a very bare bones test runner. But it's nice to see that Node is introducing it, and it will grow. So I think Jest and the rest of the frameworks will be around for a while still, but Node is starting to cut that off. Mason, what's the testing world like in Python land?
Lord, I don't know. PyTest, most part. PyTest, there's Tox. It's not a. I mean, it's pretty much. There's like 3 things in it where they just work. I mean, some people use PyTest. Some people Nose is pretty much gone now. Tox is what I use, but I think Tox still uses like some of the PyTest stuff.
Okay.
I'm not very familiar with the PyTest, the Python testing ecosystem, but I know that it's not as big as people think. It's like there's like 3 frameworks, and you use like one of the 3.
I mean, it makes sense, though, right? If it works.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I every time I've ever done testing, I've used Tox.
Okay.
I'm gonna Google it.
I think that's actually pretty common outside of JavaScript to only have a very small handful of frameworks because JavaScript seems to have more of a disparate spectrum of frameworks where 2 frameworks will very much not look the same, whereas anything built on PHP you can run a test framework on it and it'll run essentially the same.
I think that's in some ways like the big issue with the Node ecosystem.
Yeah.
There's so many modules and so many of them do the same thing.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So no, Tox is automation. It's pretty much just PyTest.
Okay.
Like Tin Army Captains. There's a built-in unit test module in the standard library. Nobody really uses it.
Maybe that's what will happen to Node's one.
So Tox and Nox is automation. PyTest is what you actually would use underneath the hood. So yeah, there's really only one. I mean, when you think about like Java, there's Java. Java has like one. It's like Java Test or Java Doc and JUnit testing.
JUnit.
Yeah, JUnit. Like they only have one. Like it's I don't know why JavaScript decides that it needs 600 different things to do the same way. Left pad. But it's like every time they're like, look how big the npm repositories are, and I'm like, yeah, and 75% of that is left pad.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to continue this tangent into Python land for a second because Airbox asked a very interesting question.
oh,
Mason,
I was there for the
what-
live reveal of this. I got to watch him do this live.
What are your thoughts on TypeScript?
It's where okay. So if you've never seen Gary Bernhardt's the life and death of JavaScript talk from PyCon back in 2013, he predicted this like a decade ago. Is that the only common the one common execution platform that all of us share is the browser. So WebAssembly, and then there was a PyCon keynote. Was it the first year or the second year in Cleveland? I think it was the second year in Cleveland that also talked about this. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I like as someone who doesn't like writing JavaScript. Now it's not meant to be a drop-in replacement for JavaScript. I don't think anything ever really is going to do that, but it is kind of cool, and it's going to bring all sorts of cool security vulnerabilities because now I can just run a script. Like, I mean, it's not that I couldn't already just run JavaScript, but now I can run Python in your browser without you knowing it. It's really cool. It's very early infant days of it. But it was really cool to see Peter do hello world from Python inside of an HTML tag at PyCon. Yeah, that was really fascinating to watch. So,
but yeah, I said now that browsers have like full WASM support and everything, it's so easy to just make any language work.
Yeah,
I think we'll see more and more of this.
Yeah, we will. We're going to see a lot of browser-based, like just code like that. It's going to be really cool. It is interesting though that the browser-based stuff is still 32-bit though. So,
what limits that?
I don't know. I don't know what causes it, but like I remember Peter talking in the keynote about like it's 32-bit Python, and I'm like, it seems a little bit weird in 2022, but. And there's also like weird things that you're gonna like have fun trying to multi-thread in a browser. Like there's obviously gonna be limitations because like we're using browsers for things we never should have used browsers for.
Yes, let's say you're trying to run a language written for an operating system in a very sandboxed environment.
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to use a lot of the process and sys calls.
Yes, so it's going to be a different way of writing stuff, but it's going to be really cool for like. Well, the cool thing is so Python has always been a glue language. Okay, like it's the Python is built in its own way, like with the fact that it can just hook into C with C Python extensions and just execute whatever C code it bloody well likes. Is really interesting. So now we're just doing that now that Python can just run JavaScript. So what they're going to do is they're going to take these popular libraries. A lot of them are going to be data analytics or data visualization libraries, and you're going to wrap them in Python, and you're just write them in Python. So Python's just going to be this universal glue language that brings everybody together. Because now with Python, I could seamlessly run C and JavaScript code together in the same environment, and you'd never know the difference.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the world's best glue.
Yep.
It's been my go-to glue language for a long time. Like I don't know. I would say I'm a full-time Node dev, but if I need to hack something together, I still do Python.
Yep. It's a really quick way to do it. I watched a talk one time that was like, whenever you're writing scripts, if you avoid bash, use Python. Like if you catch yourself writing .sh, delete that and write .py. And I'm like, yep. Yeah. I don't write bash scripts unless I have to.
But no,
I don't think anyone does.
Our main repo at work has a lot of bash and shell scripts in it. I am tempted to start rewriting them.
That sounds sad.
There you go. Toonami Captain. WASM has parts that are 32-bit only. That explains it.
Yep.
Which makes sense because browsers have got to support 32-bit runtimes still. Welcome to backwards compatibility.
The chat is gaming me now, is what it is.
Well, yeah, we have divulged so far from the plan.
All right, pulling us back to the news, everyone.
It should pop
back up the stack. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
Here we
Elon.
go. Everyone's favorite topic.
Yeah.
And let us know in chat, because I feel like I saw something in the news that there's an update to this, but I may be wrong. So let us know if you've seen anything more. But on May 13th, which was the weekend,
Yeah.
Friday,
Friday.
Elon tweeted, his deal is on hold because he doesn't believe the 5% stat from Twitter.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it.
But anybody
No,
who
of course
believes
not.
that, like you got a skinny body on the street if they believe that less than 5% of the users on Twitter are fake, and you're like, no, that's a lie.
So Elon
If only
has said
someone
that-
did a study.
Yeah, in a second we'll get to that, because there are some caveats to that study. But yeah, Elon has put the deal on hold until Twitter can confirm whether this stat is true or not. And a lot of people are wondering, is this Elon trying to get out of the deal? This feels like something he could very easily use to go, actually, sorry, you lied to me. I'm backing out of this deal. Who knows if that's
could.
true? But it's an interesting theory.
I don't know.
I would normally
I've stopped
agree,
paying
except there
attention.
have been many off ramps for this deal that they've tried to take.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Tio should
Ah.
buy Twitter, Zam says.
I don't think we can.
God,
afford it.
that I
I
can't
don't,
see it.
I don't think we can afford it. I don't think we want it.
Yeah, no, that's not our circus, not our monkeys. Leave that
No.
alone.
Dealing with abuse of compute is hard enough.
Okay, so what's the next? This looks like the
So-
next news article is actually an answer to this question.
Yeah, so if only someone had done a study to look at spam. Oh, wait, someone did. So this is from Spark, Toro, and Follower Wonk. They've done a joint analysis of Twitter accounts and have come up with 19% as their number.
Oh, that's 20. Just call it 20.
20%,
Like,
yeah.
That's 19 point, almost 19.5. Like I'm gonna call that 20.
But there is a very interesting caveat to this, which is this is active accounts only, not all of Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So they haven't considered lurker accounts or anything like that. This is of the accounts that they've seen tweeting, 20% seem fake or automated.
Oh, that's bad because most bots lurk until they get triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of
Don't
course
we
there's
all?
going to be bot accounts. You have an API, an entire library around writing Twitter automation bots. Like, of course this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad to have that, but like, that's like saying, oh, you know, here's a software development toolkit, but nobody's a bot. No, you would. Here's some Legos. Don't build a starship.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
why.
I think, take this analysis with a pinch of salt. Because there's two big caveats, which is one, they only looked at active accounts. So they haven't considered both bots that only respond when they're tweeted at, but also humans that just consume Twitter, which is, I'd
There are
imagine,
also humans that open up alt accounts just to have them,
Yeah.
which are also just as fake.
And then there's also the question of like, what's their methodology here for determining a spam or fake account? So take it with a pinch of salt, but their number is 20%.
That number also seems low to me.
Yes. So my gut says that's pretty low.
They had
yeah,
to make
there
a
you go.
study to confirm things that everyone knew that was still too low.
So now, really, we just all have to wait until see what Twitter says in response,
God.
because only they know the true number because they've got all the data.
This is hilarious. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But there you go. There's the weekly Elon Musk spice for you.
Ew. That was a horrible way to say that. God.
Oh, moving on quickly.
Bleh.
We got an article from The Verge here. The iPod is dead, but the podcast lives on.
They discontinued the last one the week of May 10th. So that means you cannot buy a new one from an Apple store, which means you can still get them from anywhere. But also, I did not know they still had them at all. So it's like,
Yeah, seems weird that they still sell them, or they had still sold them up until this point. They must have pretty low sale numbers, I'd imagine.
I personally like MP3 players being standalone versus coming on my phone because my phone burns battery like it doesn't need to be on all the time doing things. It just doesn't.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you actually use your phone for nowadays?
The same thing I
Avoiding phone
used.
calls.
The same thing I used it for back in 2003.
Yeah. So really, you just need a basic phone and then a basic MP3 player, and we'd all be happy.
Yeah.
But alas, Apple has deemed that that's not the way forward. So yeah, the iPod's gone. I'm sure we'll miss it.
All this talk makes me want to Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not awful.
You know what? I still think I have my iPod Shuffle in a box.
I have one of the old clip versions.
Yes, I think I have the same one.
I don't know how you do. That one's older than you.
It's not.
When did you get it?
I don't know. I've had it as long as I can remember.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was probably
Were you
like
in school?
You probably.
Oh, definitely.
Damn it.
Yeah. I don't know. It probably still works because those things were built like rocks.
Yeah,
were.
that's the thing. Mine was actually a Creative Zen, which was basically a hard drive with buttons and a screen on it.
The original Shuffle was released in 2005. So.
Oh, so I would have been alive. Just.
Yeah. See, like if they're just it's pretty much.
I would have been
your
alive
age.
is the greatest offense. I don't know what you're talking about. How dare you? I'm alive.
Yeah. No, I would have
The
been
real robot
4.
answer. I just want to put that out there.
I'd been 4 when the first iPod came out. That's scary. But there you go. iPods are gone. Long live the iPod.
Long live the iPod. Pour one
I'm-
out.
I'm sure they'll be around for a while still in secondary markets. And it wouldn't surprise me if someone comes along to replace it.
Well, I think the difference is that if you had a non-iPod MP3 player, you could still, because a lot of them had very generalized types of data transfer, that you could still use it for being an MP3 player, even though the data service for it had gone away years ago. Given that, isn't the iPod tied to the Apple Music marketplace? Wouldn't they make it impossible for you to actually use it for the thing you had it for?
Are you talking about the Shuffle? Like, because
Any of them? I have no idea.
No, the modern one you can just install Spotify or whatever
really?
app you want. Like as
Oh,
long
so
as
the
it's
modern
got a
ones-
fully functioning app store.
Oh, so the modern ones
Oh,
run
okay.
iOS, right?
Yeah, they run iOS, so it's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the
a lot-
older ones are just an MP3 file system.
Yes. Now those shuffles will probably never work again because, like, I mean, I don't know about y'all's, but mine like docked through the like it docked and charged through the like headphone jack.
Yes.
Like really weird system, and it had to connect to iTunes, and it was basically just a copy file system over.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm sure someone will make, if there isn't already, I'm sure there will be some software to talk to those still.
we will see.
Because, I mean, it's USB 2. It's 2 data lines. It can't be that hard.
Oh, don't never underestimate the ability of Apple to proprietary invent their own protocol.
that
that
was my concern. Or like just send a kill signal to all of them. It's like
Yeah.
every time you try to connect. So,
Anyway, while we're in the Apple stuff, let's go on to the next part of Apple news.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
the best part of the Apple news. That thing.
Do you
What's
like this
that
mouse?
thing?
Car mouse?
Yeah, you probably have to flip it over to put gas in it, so and you can't use it, so
But you can only plug it into other Apple products. You can't plug it. This is not a real picture. I just want that pointed out. It was a concept picture by Let's Go Digital. And yeah, so that's who produced this picture. It is. They wanted to be very clear that this is not Apple's actual design, even though it really feels like a moment where, like, when everyone guess who the Star Trek villain would be, and they're like, "No, it's not," and then you just hear like ruffling of papers and edits being made.
Well, I mean, I know. Looking at this, it feels like something Apple could come up with. It looks like an Apple designer has looked at like some Teslas and gone, "How do we make that Apple?"
No,
My other favorite comment is like, "This is the internet's new Cybertruck."
Yeah.
No, it literally looks like the guy was playing with his Magic Mouse with his kid, going, "Look, it goes vroom," and goes, "I've got an idea. We'll make a car out of the mouse." Like,
But the
yes,
most
exactly.
important-
Bleep's right. This is just the Magic Mouse with wheels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the crucial part of this horrible design isn't so much that it looks like a mouse, even though that's bad. It's that Apple had filed a patent for an entertainment system which will replace the windows of the car, so that you don't actually see outside, you see a rendering of what's going on.
Okay,
outside.
that's absolutely stupid. Like, because these cars will get into wrecks, people will get trapped in them, and then there's no way to get out of the damn car.
And in the notes it says autonomous vehicles may have limited or even no windows, and thus the motions that passengers experience in such vehicles may not match what they are visually seeing, potentially causing motion sickness. Now, if you've ever gone to a 4D movie and you have motion sickness, you know it does not potentially cause motion sickness. It gives you motion sickness for however long you're experiencing that feature, and you realize how long a movie like the Sonic movie is. It is a long movie to watch while being bumped around, and I don't need that experience in a car.
I don't want anything to do with that. Like, there needs to be windows. Like,
There needs to be windows. And another issue is, like, if you do get into a wreck and glass comes in from a regular window, it's just glass. Now you have machinery and like chips and wires and stuff.
yeah, now it can
coming for your
electrocute
face.
you. And also, like, that
You
hardware
don't get
wears
points for
out.
that Windows joke. Everyone makes it.
I know. Yeah, you're right. We're not going to even acknowledge the Windows joke. Also, the
No.
puns in chat are a lot better now.
Apparently, like that just started this week. They really wanted to gamify it this week.
It's been great. Like, you're not going to see like a 50-year-old Apple car running down because all the electronics are going to wear out by then. Like, you know, I'm not saying that everyone should have
they going
old vehicles, but like these.
Are they going to push that patch though? That kind of slows everything down every 2 years,
Right? No, like this is
I don't need that to happen.
This is more forced obsolescence. I can't say that word. That's a hard word.
It's also your body physically rejecting the word.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's my soul going no.
If Apple Maps doesn't have Street View where you are, it's a dark void. I don't know if that's
I didn't even
true or a
think about-
potential. If this thing runs Apple Maps, I'm done.
That's
dude.
exactly what I was about to say. I didn't even consider the fact that this thing's going to navigate off of Apple Maps. And if you remember, I don't think the logo is it anymore, but the original Apple Maps logo was them taking a left off of an overpass. Like, that was legitimately the logo. It was the overpass near the office. It's like, just take a left in the middle of this overpass, dive down about 20 feet. You'll be fine. So yeah, no, I don't trust Apple Maps. And the only cool thing about Apple Maps that I've liked recently, I broke Amy. It's good to know.
Good help.
The only thing I ever liked about Apple Maps, because I recently got an iPhone and I've been using it in my truck with Apple CarPlay, is that they show the stoplights, which is actually really helpful. But Google does that now, which because again, capitalism doesn't breed competition; it breeds mimicry. That's all it does. Like, why come up with new stuff? We can just steal our competitors.
But then that leads you to the question: it's like, why are so many things missing features when they're like, oh, it's too hard? It's like 5 other people did this. What is your problem? There were a lot of companies way back when, before Google Maps, that managed to make a map that did not go off an intersection. So,
Yeah.
so
Does anybody? Do you, Amy? Do you remember MapQuest?
Yes.
Matt, do you know what MapQuest is?
No.
In the old days, you used to buy a
What?
CD
You're joking.
and you would type in your route into this program you would run on your computer, and then you would print the instructions.
I can do one better. I can do it better. In the early 90s, does anyone know who Rand McNally is?
In the early, unfortunately, I cannot comment on the early 90s.
I was still a young child in the early 90s. Depending
You're all
on
infuriating me. But anyway, so Rand McNally Thomas Guides is a company that makes driving maps. That is, they originally were two companies. I'm pretty sure they're one company now. They released one of the first mapping pieces of software, and I know this because I had to do a cross-country road trip, and that was how we plotted our course. It was a monochrome application that ran on DOS.
oh my gosh.
And
my dad
I'm
still
going to take my muscle relaxers after this.
My dad still uses an atlas. Like, he goes and buys like this really fancy atlas, and when he plans his trips, he pulls out his book. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Because let's be honest, like, if there's actually one thing that Google Map that actually, this is nothing that mapping software suck at. If you want to plan a moderately scenic route, or you want to plan not a route that they don't recommend, like, it's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Like trying to
make any mapping
modifications.
Turn.
Yeah.
Is just, they're like, but why would you do that? It's like, I know
you say that,
you could do that.
but last week we talked about the fact that Google Maps now does a efficient route, right?
I said it was an eco-efficient route.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen that, the little green leaf on my Google Maps.
Yeah, which is basically like it's the route with the least amount of gradient and the least amount of traffic.
So,
which is great.
We could get
but they still can't do a U-turn.
No, can't do a U-turn.
Because whenever I do a U-turn, my phone flips out so hard that it takes down there. It's like, well, you don't need the rest of this stuff. Bye.
Oh my goodness.
Don't turn off.
Going back to this not having any screens. If you
Any
want
windows?
That's what I meant. Any windows. If you want some proof as to why it's a terrible idea, after you've watched Cloud Chats, go on YouTube, search up "a car designed to make you sick." It's a video from William Osman and Tom Scott, and they did this. They blacked out the windows, put a camera on the front, gave you a screen to drive the car, and it went terribly.
This is like that study about spam bots. You don't need video evidence to prove the thing that everyone already knows.
Well, this was
It's only going to make them either mad or gross. God.
3 whole years ago, they were way ahead of Apple.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Tangent done.
Yeah, well, we've gone on a lot of those today. Let's go ahead and get to Kim's update.
Alrighty, here we go.
Kim's having a good time, okay?
So yes, for those that haven't noticed yet, Kim's not here this week because Kim is in Spain.
Lucky Kim.
Yeah. She is having a wonderful time at KubeCon EU.
Pictures are so pretty.
And we have an update from her. So I will read this out word for word what she sent to us. Oh, she's in chat. There we go. So here
she could always jump in.
Hey!
I suspect the internet probably isn't good enough given the number of people there.
Surprisingly, the PyCon Wi-Fi was good enough for me to go to many meetings and host a Zoom call during the middle of the conference. Another thing, Salt Lake City, good conference Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I've heard terrible things about the KubeCon Wi-Fi. Terrible.
But anyway, here we go. Hello from Valencia. KubeCon officially kicked off yesterday. The conference venue is enormous and there's lots of people there. There are 7,000 in-person attendees and 10,000 virtual. Kim's workshop was this morning. It was well attended and the live demos worked. But the promo code didn't work. And Kim found some bugs in our crossplane provider. So there you go. Live demo worked, nothing else did.
That's still 60% better than I've heard about like a lot of live demos.
Yeah. And if you want to walk
better
through
than
the
any live demo
tutorial,
I've done.
Yeah, if you want to walk through the tutorial that Kim did during that workshop, it's at github.com/digitalocean/kubecon-2022-DOKS-workshop.
Oh my
If you go to our GitHub org, it'll be near the top. Just search for KubeCon. Where we got Adam Wolf Gordon and Wayne Warren, both senior engineers within DigitalOcean that work on Kubernetes and container registry stuff, are doing a talk this afternoon at KubeCon. Their talk is called From Docker Push to Bytes on Disk Inside Distribution. Sounds like quite the interesting talk. So again, if you're in person or have a virtual ticket, you can watch that one. And I'm sure it will be on demand later as well. I think all the talks are. The CNCF gave their keynote as usual, and some key points from it were KubeCon EU 2023 will be in Amsterdam. So I might go
that
there
sounds
next year.
fun.
Yeah. There is a new Prometheus Certified Associate Certificate exam in beta. There is a new Cloud Native Network Function Certificate exam in beta. Boeing has joined as a CNCF Platinum partner.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Coinbase, Charter Communications, Softone, and CE Cloud are new gold partners for the CNCF. And then
That's it.
that's it. One more day left of KubeCon. And then Kim is off next week to have some more fun times in Spain and enjoy it and explore it. But she'll be back on Cloud Chats the week after. There you go. KubeCon update complete.
Fantastic.
It sounds so much fun.
Yeah. I don't know. Somewhat wish I was there.
I saw a lot of pictures from the expo floor, and everyone seemed to be having like the best time.
Oh yeah, it's
I guess you're not.
It's a lot of fun.
No.
It's good to be back. PyCon was just the same. Like it was an absolute ball to be back in person with people that you know and people that you don't know. Like PyCon this year had, it's much smaller than KubeCon. KubeCon, let's be honest, is one of the larger conferences in the world.
Yeah,
PyCon had like
sure.
1,600 in person, which
Dang,
is pretty
that's
good.
a lot.
And I think 63% of them were first time attendees.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I think that's something a lot of people don't consider with these events is that there are a lot of people who learned technology during the pandemic who are now making their like first time connections, and that's honestly the best place to do it if you're if that's the path you're going through.
Also, if you move, like, because a lot of these conferences move, then you get an entirely new local tech audience every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, I know KubeCon moves, PyCon moves. Like PyCon will be is one more year in Salt Lake, and then it's going to be in Pittsburgh for 2 years. So it's moving literally across the country. So, yeah, you should come to PyCon next year, Toon Army Captain. It's great. And Salt Lake City was honestly way better than Cleveland. Sorry, Cleveland people. Sorry, not sorry, Cleveland.
I love that you've developed this entire rivalry between Salt Lake City and Cleveland.
Well, I only got my first PyCon was the last year. It was in Portland, and it was pretty good. I would say it was like I was my first one, so like everything was new.
Oh yeah.
But 2 years in Cleveland, meh. The conference itself was great. The city was not. I love the conference. Actually, anyway, I can go on about this for hours. We should have a whole Cloud Chats Mason talks about PyCon.
We can just talk about random cities that have had conferences we've gone to, and we can fill that up for an hour.
PyTexas is moving, Toon Army Captain.
To where?
It's going to
California?
Dallas. Nope, it's going to Dallas. So we're implementing a similar structure that PyCon does. We're going to do it 2 years, and we're going to move. We're basically going to move between the major cities of Texas because there's a lot of tech in a lot of the different areas. So if you think about it, we've done it in the last 3 PyTexases have been in Austin. Now that dates back all the way to 2017, because reasons. So now we're going to go to Dallas, and then we're going to go to Houston, then we're going to go to San Antonio. We'll go back to Austin. We may go in 10 years. We may choose to go to El Paso. That's still up in the air because it's not Texas. That's basically New Mexico. I don't know why we have it in Texas. So anyway.
There you go. Alrighty, and then our final news item of the week. It's not a Cloud Chats episode until we've got a bit of space news happening.
Of course. Well, I mean, we had that. We had Elon, right? Does Elon count as space news?
That was salty tech.
Unless we
news.
ship him back.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. If you didn't know, there's a black hole at the center of our galaxy. We've got an image of it at last.
Yeah.
This wonderful blurry mess is a black hole.
Yep.
The
And if
reason- you go.
I would say, and if you're curious about how they did this, the second keynote at PyCon this year was literally one of the female engineers who was working on this. I think the one that they have the picture of with the hard drives. I think that was her. I don't remember. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. And she gave an entire 45-minute talk on exactly how they did this. Basically no Python, just science and space. Unbelievable keynote. Had everybody glued. We basically use the Earth as a telescope.
Yeah, you have to at this scale. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever those recordings are going to get uploaded soon. So if you want to know exactly how they did this and all of it, it was an unbelievable talk. Another reason why everyone should go to PyCon. There's great keynotes. I got to see PyScript. I got to see black holes in the matter of an hour.
Yeah, there you go. So go and watch that. And I will say, if you want an explanation that's potentially a bit more digestible, Veritasium published a video on this as well, kind of at a really high level explaining how they took this photo and then what you're actually seeing in this photo. Because you're not really seeing the black hole.
No, you're seeing the
Because
gases.
you're not seeing light.
You're seeing the gases as they swirl around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the light can't exit the black hole.
No.
That's why it's a black hole.
That's why it's a black hole.
Alrighty. That's it.
And I think this one's 40 million times the size of our sun?
Does it say this anywhere? It's 27,000 light years away. There's a number for you. It doesn't seem to have much about the scale of it in here, though. So who knows?
What's it called?
Jerry?
What's this? What do they name this one?
This is Sagittarius A star, right?
A star, right? Oh, A star. Okay.
Comma, right, question mark.
It is 16 million miles, 26 million kilometers in diameter.
Because obviously kilometers is the useful way to measure this. Go on, Mason. Is it?
The same distance you use to measure a car ride is totally how you should measure the size of a black hole.
Depends on if I'm
Look-
driving across it or not.
We got football pitches. Have we got that as a unit of measurement available to us?
we measure it in freedom units here, math.
Well, in the UK, if something's too big to be measured in kilometers, we just measure it in double-decker buses.
I thought you don't measure it in hands anymore.
No. If you've got anything big, it's a double-decker bus all the way. It's just common unit of
Why are
measurement.
on top of each other?
Depends what you're measuring. If you're doing height of something, it's stacked double-decker buses. If you're doing something that's long, it's tail to nose double-decker buses. It's just, being a British person, it's a size you have to know.
Okay.
Okay, so it was. I
want to go to England and just have you measure stuff for me and explain stuff. It's going to be great.
Oh, you should sometime.
And just watch me have some kind of existential crisis.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to do volume of a sun, so let's move on to the next. Because there's no easy one, but our sun is 1.4 million kilometers in diameter, and a star is 26 million in diameter. But then you have to do some volume of a sphere, And I'm not doing that right. Well,
You don't want to do volume math right now.
volume of a sphere. What
In
is...
Fluidic volume, it's going to be great.
Oh, actually, no. It's
Volume
4/3.
is measured in cups of tea.
So the radius
No.
is 13.5.
The way we measure things in the UK is very complicated. We switch between imperial and metric depending on what you're measuring.
I love that you said very flatly that you will measure things in the size of a double-decker bus, and
Okay.
from a country that likes telling people to use the metric system.
This is
Wait.
probably all completely wrong, but if I just did this math right, it's 606 suns could fit inside of A star.
That sounds like a
Because
fair
if
amount of
you
suns.
take the
It
volume,
sounds very believable, but it also could be very unbelievable.
it could be very. I did the volume math. Like it's the radius of 26 million is, we'll say 13. We'll just say 13. 606, and then I didn't do anything by the power. So
there were math
606 times 10 to the 5th. So. There.
And I thought no one would want to see someone do math on this.
Or
show.
I could be wrong about this 10 to the 5th part.
Well, that would be
That was
60
wrong.
million suns, Mason.
That sounds wrong. But it could be right. It's space. We don't know.
It's also the hugest part of this galaxy, so singular part.
But anyway,
Are we gonna move on again? Like I feel like
Yeah,
this-
should we
I feel like-
move on?
I feel like Mason Does Math is a bad segment, and we should not do it again.
Alrighty, that is the end of the news this week.
Google says
Tsunami
4
Caption
million.
says Google says 4 million.
That's
So
fine.
Mason,
do
you
the
were
math.
somewhere in between your two numbers.
I was. I mean, did you Google it or did you do the math? Because I could.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you go and get the direct answer whenever I'm over here struggling to remember 4/3 pi r cubed? Like,
I like that your first direction was also, instead of looking up the answer that someone must have said already, I'm going to go do all the,
Go to
the
the
math.
calculations.
no, the
It's
answer
like,
wasn't
I'm gonna
coming up.
prove it.
We're also assuming that the black hole is a sphere. We think it is, but
It's a black hole. You don't know.
it could be an oblong.
Mason will go and send you
It
to
could be a
measure it.
pancake.
I will go. You give me like a 25-foot tape measure, and I'll just mark it, and I'll just go around it the whole time.
We're going to
Tsunami
shoot
Captain.
all of the double-decker buses into the black
Tsunami
hole
Captain
and see what
says-
happens.
I googled it because I'm a software engineer.
That is fair.
It's very true.
Okay, are we gonna move on? I feel like
We should move on.
I feel like
Do you want to
we're
pull up the Kahoot quiz?
I feel like we're running behind.
You know, these shows are very loose on the timings. Amy, are you going to pull up the quiz?
Am I going to do it? Oh,
I don't
sure.
have the login.
Just because
so-
I said I would do it, and I'm the
Yeah.
only one who still has access to this thing. Hold on, I
Correct.
got.
Right.
Hold on. I'm totally prepared this week. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I don't know. It's fine. We only spent an
Things.
hour on the news.
Well, it's because we went down a lot of rabbit holes.
That's what's good about this show, right?
Right. Okay. Let's
Right,
share
whilst-
the screen.
Whilst
The
Amy's
part of the
pulling
show
this
that
up-
always works out well.
Yeah, while Amy's pulling this up, word of the week is synthetic data.
Yes, let's
And
talk
Mason
about it from
Is
me.
going to tell us all about it.
Yes. So the official, or one of the official definitions, so that at least my company purports, is synthetic data is artificially annotated information that is generated by computer algorithms or simulations commonly used as an alternative to real-world data. So I'm going to send this blog post to the private chat, and someone can dump it into the comments chat. But basically,
On
synthetic data is, say you have a data set that you're using to test against, that you're using to train a machine learning model against, or you're doing anything that requires data, and it's a relatively small data set, and you would like a larger data set. Synthetic data allows you to basically use these predetermined models that have already been built to generate as much of this data that you want, and using very advanced mathematics that, as we saw how my high school algebra went, we're not going to go over in this call. We are able to prove that the data is statistically equivalent to your initial data set. So this is really helpful if you have small data sets and you need a large data set to train a model. It's also helpful for testing because by creating synthetic data, you are, especially with Gretel's product, you are using multiple tools, one of which is a transform, which detects PII and then removes it. You're able to use this to basically have an equivalent data set to your original data set, but say there was customer information in that data set. Now you can share this synthetic data set it will give the same results to models being trained. It's basically equivalent, but there's no longer any customer data in it. So now you can share data safely and not have to worry about any sort of potential leaks. So
It's especially useful if you're going to do something like you have a product that requires some type of data analytics and you want to do a demo model or be able to demonstrate that product to potential customers, but you obviously don't want to give away your current customer database because that
Yep.
would violate so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love synthetic data. I love mock data. I like being able to simulate things.
And you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. One of the things that I like talking about that we have a case study of that's linked in that blog that we posted is being able to use it to debias data. The case study that they have was they were using it to detect heart disease in patients, and just due to the nature of the data that they had, an overwhelming majority of the heart disease data was from men. So the model was really terrible at detecting heart disease in women. Well, not really terrible, but it was biased. So what they were able to do is they were able to remove some of the data from men and then augment the data from women to grow the data set, to balance the data set, to debias it. And I think according to the case study, the efficiency of the model went from 86% to 96%. So there are real world applications where you can use this data to debias, reduce bias, generating more samples from limited data sets, and then making your data private. And that's what I do now. I talk about this. Ask me what it's like to be a developer advocate who only has one product to talk about.
Oh, sounds wonderful.
Huh?
Yeah, right. It's really cool. Yeah,
it is. Okay, so there was a time where basically any amount of data produced an app because it was the .com bubble and that stuff just kind of happened. So the idea of being able to kind of reliably reproduce test data or a very specific data type of environment is always going to be my jam because I enjoy it.
Yeah. So if anyone here is interested in synthetic data, Gretel, it's Gretel.ai. Gretel, like Hansel and Gretel from the fairy tale. And you...
Oh, I get it, because breadcrumbs.
Yes. Amy, you're the first person that's got that. Okay, I am so...
But we've also been talking for weeks, and I did not... Well, I'm fine.
Okay. Amy and I are obviously best friends who are just now getting to know each other, and we have got to hang out more. Yeah, you can try it out. There's a whole bunch of Jupyter notebooks, so you can try it out and already demonstrate it. We also have a free tier, so you can totally play around with it. We have a free tier, Matt.
All right.
Don't call us out like this.
I'm sorry. That's the only shade I'm going to throw today, even though there's definitely a lot more shade that could be thrown.
I'm just going to say, at least we have a $4 droplet coming. It's getting a bit cheaper.
Next. Moving on. You're not going to prod me into this fight, Matt. But anyway,
moving on. Quiz time.
Check out Gretel.ai. Synthetic data definitely solves some problems for you. Follow me on Twitter. I'll talk about it there too.
Yeah, go and look at Mason's Twitter. There's some good takes there.
Oh, I have to click the other button too.
You have to hit classic mode, yeah.
I have to click all of the buttons?
All the buttons.
I'm the one in charge of this nonsense? Why?
Alrighty. It's quiz time, everyone. The quiz this week is robots. So head over to kahoot.it and enter the game pin 8385894.
And if anyone's concerned about the last robot that I sent out, they are normal robots, not creepy ones this time.
Yeah. If you're watching on demand, you can't join the quiz, but you can still play along because we'll read everything out.
Do what I do. Play it on the Post-it note. Until you end up getting so many wrong at once and you just give up.
Then
no one knows how to know.
How many questions are there this week?
10? It's 10-ish.
Cool.
It's a normal amount of questions because there were a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And again, I did not want to traumatize anyone with super weird robots again.
And as always, if you win the quiz, there's some Dio swag up for grabs. I'm not going to commit at this point to any specific DO swag. So it depends who wins. But probably some stickers. Maybe some stickers.
Okay, I
Alrighty.
think we got everyone in, so I'm gonna go
Let's
hit
get
start.
started.
Woohoo! I didn't call it that. They called it that.
Believe us, are the questions generated by Gretel? No.
No, they're
Alrighty, first
Would-
question. Which is the best example of an autonomous robot? A Roomba, Sophia, Siri, or the Curiosity rover?
I
You're
feel like
expecting me to
asking this.
know those other robots. And also, this is hilarious because my Roomba has been stuck underneath my couch for a week, and I just refuse to fish it out because we have not had
Okay.
a recent update on what Mason's Roomba is doing.
Okay. In the case of Roombas, autonomous is a very loose term.
Yes,
Say the
But
thing, Matt.
it does drive itself, which I think is more autonomous than any of the other options. You
I don't
think
know.
about-
Well,
I didn't
what is
know
a
two
plane?
of the.
Sophia is a plane.
Oh, I didn't know what Curiosity's a rover, right?
Yeah, it's on
Secure-
Mars, but it's controlled by humans.
Okay.
And Sophia is a plane that they use for zero-G training. That is a space thing, which makes me
Oh.
think this is another NASA quiz.
I bet we're gonna have a delay thing because you probably didn't click the little button that makes it where it puts it on their screen first, did you?
What
I don't know.
button?
We'll talk about it later. Next question.
Dang it!
It's people got the right answer, so Next
Everyone
question.
answered. You didn't say the thing though.
oh, say the thing. Yes. Kahoot is
I said it 3 times.
Kahoot is not just about getting it correct; it's about being fast. The faster you get the correct answer, the more points you get. Hence the spread of points on the screen.
My meditation app just told me to sit and breathe. Like, how rude.
I'm glad that Cloud Chat's. Oh no, okay, it's doing just fine. It's showing up on your device.
Oh,
Good.
cool.
Wait, I have to
That's not
type
the
my
answer.
answer.
You have to type your answer. A blank is a programmable device that can assist humans.
I don't
This could
know.
be interesting.
Again, sis is probably a loose statement.
Is this what? Okay, yeah.
This
Wait,
is
this
what
is-
happens, Mason, when we
this-
decide that we're not going to write quizzes ourselves anymore.
There's also 15 questions. So
Yes.
you lied and said there was 10. I thought.
Oh, I didn't lie. I was wrong. There's a difference.
Okay,
Robot.
I
Cool.
think that's poop. Okay, whatever.
Look, we're on a robot quiz, okay?
Okay, fine. There is no way you got that right, Two Army Captain. I swear.
Tsunami Captain, what is this? Yes, it's still in first. Oh, here we go. Here's a better question. Pneumatics are powered by what? Plasma,
Ooh.
liquids, solids, or gases?
I think I literally
That
just
was
got that
fast.
wrong. Dang it. Yeah, I got it wrong because I was trying to be fast, not smart.
Yep. Pneumatics are generally air powered. They work on compressed air
I was
magic.
thinking
Hydraulics.
Yeah.
Tsunami Captain, this is not going well. Don't know what we're going to do if you win. What is
is con-
considered to be the world's first robot that could both perceive and reason?
I
This
have
can't be a NASA
n-
quiz. They didn't answer any of the questions in the picture.
R2D2, Sophia, Shaky, or Ultimatum?
These are fast.
Was an absolute guess, and if Two Army Captain got it right, I'm gonna absolutely figure out how he's hacking Kahoot every week.
The reason they're fast is everyone's finishing answering.
Ah,
Tsunami Captain,
Oh,
how did you get that right?
I did say that Sophia was a plane.
Yeah.
I just guessed.
Multi-select.
Multi-select.
Ooh. Drones are an example of this type of robot. Teleoperated, humanoid robots, autonomous, or augmenting robots. Remember, this is a multi-select question, so there's probably multiple correct answers here. Methinks. There we go. Drones
Sweet.
are teleoperated and can also be autonomous.
But not human.
Oh, that'd
No.
be weird. Flying
That
human.
would be weird.
Tsunami Captain's still in first.
Also, right behind him was Mason, and we can't send Mason anything either.
What is the name of the man who developed the first autonomous robot?
It's fine. I'll lose.
Professor Moriarty, William. Oh, everyone's getting it so fast. William Gray Walter, Isaac Asimov, or Captain Kirk. The correct answer
Two of
was
them are not real people.
William Gray Walter. Tsunami Captain's still holding out in
There's a lot of
first.
it. Yeah, but there's a lot of activity on the leaderboard this week.
Yeah. One pair of gears used to connect two shafts whose axes intersect is called a driven gear, a drive gear, or a bevel gear.
Hey.
I don't know these questions. I'm just guessing.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a bevel gear, right? Because the edges of the two gears have to be beveled so that they mesh.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
Sensible naming. True or false? Polar robots are robots where all the joints are revolute joints.
That means they go around, right? I'm guessing that's what that means.
It's true. I guess
It's
false.
true.
Does that make them polar? Because then they would be able to go around instead of just. I'm getting hung up on wording. I'm sorry. I'm not clicking the button like I should.
Ooh, Tsunami Captain lost their streak.
Yeah, but nobody else moved up either.
Yeah, no, but you know. The gear which transmits power and motion to the rest of the system is known as the driven gear, a bevel gear,
Ooh,
An
everyone
idle
knew
gear,
that.
or a
Dang.
drive gear. The answer was a drive gear. Sensible name.
I should have realized there would be a lot of questions about gears, but I didn't.
So people climb up the leaderboard, that one. Or multi-select question again. Which simple machines are found on robots? Hammers, screws, pulleys, and levers.
That has to be an all of them question, right?
I don't.
Oh,
Is a
let's see.
hammer a simple machine? I think pulley, lever,
Yeah.
and screw are simple machines, but I don't know if a hammer
A,
is.
ha- a hammer is a simple machine because you can make it out of a rock. That is technically a tool.
Oh.
A hammer was not one of them.
I guess you don't need a hammer for a robot. That makes sense.
So our first quiz was one for over 10,000 points. This type of robot system connects joints with movement to achieve output motion. Bearing, scissors, a linkage, or a linear wheel.
So, as I try to reason this out on camera, so okay,
It's a linkage. You're connecting
so it goes
joints
like that.
with a
right?
movement to get an output motion.
Got it. Okay.
It's just two things
This
linked together.
quiz has turned into me getting robotics explained to me.
I just love how I'm behind, not Mason.
I thought that was you. That's not you.
What type of electrical power is used on the competition robots used for first?
Okay, that's right. This was made by Lego, so I thought it would be easier.
AAA, solar, AC, or DC power.
It's DC power because it's
With batteries.
Batteries, yeah, batteries are DC.
There you go.
That took a minute.
Or Gabriel climb up the leaderboard. The area that a robot has to move within is known as a workbox, a building, a work envelope, or a square.
If it leaves the building, I have a problem.
A work.
I still would have
envelope,
gotten that
okay.
wrong. Dang.
It is known as the work envelope of the robot.
I thought it was a box. Why wouldn't it be called a box?
I don't know. People like to use envelope for this kind of thing, you know, like the power envelope or something.
Mm,
Fancy word.
Two more.
A robot that moves up, down, forward, backward, and left, right is called a cylindrical robot, a Cartesian robot, a scalar robot, or a coordinate robot.
that's fancy.
I want to say Cartesian. That means that means coordinates, right? Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yep, Cartesian robot works on the Cartesian axes.
As
Ooh.
opposed to like a radial robot, which would work on a curve, right?
I would assume a radial robot would be one that works on like a spinning axis. What are the 3 conditions that can stop a robot? It is mad at you, an alarm condition, the program or driven action has finished, or a mechanical failure.
Yeah, if anything, it being mad at you will make it work faster.
And as we all know from Roombas, it being mad ain't gonna stop it. That's it. Quiz is over.
And it's
So in 3rd place, we got Vemolk, getting 9 out of 15 correct.
not
Mason in 2nd, also 9 out of 15. And Toonami Captain, once again, taking home the win with 12 out of 15.
Can't you just ask Mason for stuff at this point?
He has. I just haven't shipped it to him because I'm lazy. I
Alright,
swear it's coming as soon as I remember to ship it to you.
I'm gonna change things up a bit here. Toonami Captain, you know where to find us, but not Mason. Feel free to also reach out. Take a screenshot of your screen showing that you came in 2nd, and then send me an email. I am mcowley@digitalocean.com. I'll type that out in chat. Send me, like name, shipping address, that kind of thing, so I can send you some stuff.
Okay, so the hammer, quote unquote, is a simple machine because it's a type of lever or lever if you're Matt.
You're just taking the...
What?
It's just how we say it over here.
I'm just saying. So that's why. So like the simple machines are the lever, the wedge, the wheel and axle, the screw, the inclined plane, and the pulley. So those are simple machines, but the hammer qualifies as a lever.
Well, the more you know.
Did not realize that.
Yes.
Kind of makes sense, though.
Yeah, because it has a pivot point, and that is the defining characteristic of lever.
Yes, but
As
that's not.
important to know.
Whenever I was thinking hammer, I was not thinking the claw point. I was thinking the ball point of the hammer.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
The hit point. So
The smashy part. The most effective part of the hammer.
And with that, we're going to crash our way into what's on your mind.
apparently, what is and what is not a simple machine.
I'm actually going to do this in reverse order for once. Mason, I'm going to put you up first. What's on your
Aw,
mind?
That's not fair, Matt. You always go first.
I had the power this week.
You have. Well, I'm officially an Apple convert. My new job sent me an M1 MacBook Pro, and I fell in love with it. So I now have an Apple Watch and an iPad and a Mac and everything.
All it takes is one device to pull you in.
It really is it's a slippery slope. The only thing that irritates me is that whenever like all of my devices ring now. Like so if I'm getting a phone call,
I
like
hate that.
my phone rings, my iPad and my backpack rings, my laptop rings, and my watch rings.
I
I
like
don't
that.
like
That's
like
a
just-
little
No.
irritating. Well, because it keeps scaring my partner because I keep my backpacks, so like it just goes off in their room.
Ah.
It's
So-
extremely starting.
It is,
Doesn't it?
but they're it's pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to upgrade to a Mac desktop because I like playing video games.
Mhm.
And because I don't have that much money. But actually the iPad was I've been wanting an iPad for years, especially with the Apple Pencil, because I like handwriting my notes. So I got it for PyCon and I took it with me to PyCon and it was just so nice. So yeah, Apple's pretty cool if you can afford it. And the Apple Watch is actually pretty dope. Like I've tried every Android Wear known to man. I've hated all of them. And the Apple Watch is the first one that I'm like, I actually really like this device. So it's the only piece of smart wearable tech that I have adopted into my life. So yeah.
To your point about ringing, though, I agree at the starting, but I found it really useful because every device that rings is a device you can answer that call from.
Yes, it is pretty cool.
So no matter where I am in the
why
house,
I don't like that.
It only bugs me because it's the iPad, because like I don't really use my iPad that much. Like I use it when I travel. So it's like I don't need you, like shut up, I don't need you ringing. Like
you can turn it off if you want.
You're right, I could turn off the iPad.
In your phone settings, there should be a per device forwarding setting.
Ooh, I'll have to look for
Ooh.
that. I'm still learning about the whole ecosystem, but I also really like Apple Pay, which is nice too.
Yes.
But I mean, I will also say I was on Android Pay in like 2013. Like it freaked people out because nobody had ever seen NFC payments yet. So I used to go to Whataburger in college, and I would take out my Android phone and I'd pay with my phone, and they would call people over to come look at this.
Oh my god.
It wasn't a thing like a lot of people are like,
No.
oh, Apple Pay and NFC. NFC is an old spec.
Yeah.
Like, and I could go on about NFC for hours because I love NFC.
NFC is great.
It's a great spec, but anyway, that's what's been on my mind.
And it figures it out instead of having to go through the entire process of getting them to talk to each other.
Yeah, well, it's just it's so cool. Just low level little magnetic pulses. It's really cute. Anyway, that's what's on my mind.
I like it. I'm glad to see that we've got another Apple person.
Yep, Chris will be so proud.
Chris will be very happy about that one. Amy, what's on your mind this week?
A friend of mine from kindergarten found me and messaged me on Instagram, and that was the highlight of my weekend. So, like, she was my best friend and the only friend that I made in elementary school on my own. So it's like, yeah, I got super excited, except I'm also like, how did you find me? It's like, you put your name on everything, and I just Googled you. I'm like, well, that freaks me out, but okay.
Yeah. No, welcome the life of
Welcome to developer advocacy.
Yes, like literally, I'm the easiest person on earth to find.
That's why it's like. So I tried, and she's like, "Because I have your full name written down. Like I have your old name." So I looked it up. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's what happens when you make your last name your middle name." So it's like, and I Googled myself, and it's all the same picture. It's all the same, like 5 title cards all the way down. It's like, okay.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So it was fun for me for that one thing, and then freaked me out about everything else. So,
yeah, so that is
usual tech stuff.
If you do want to freak yourself out, Google your name. It's even if you're not in like the tech space, it can be a very interesting adventure.
Or you can do what happens to me, where if you have a handle that you use a lot and you Google that, you will find people who have been getting your email. There is a girl in the tech space who also uses Amy Codes as a handle. She is and she does a lot of Kubernetes work, and there was a long time that we were getting the same types of communications, even though I don't do Kubernetes work, but I do serverless and containerization type of talks. So there was a lot of crosstalk, and that's a thing that can happen. You're allowed to choose stuff like that.
Yeah. Luckily for me,
I cannot find Matt's face.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually. There should be some results in my face if you hunt hard enough. But luckily for me,
it's the same logo on every surface.
It is. I have a
I know
GitHub
where
repo.
it's at.
Yeah, I have a GitHub repo that does have my face in it if you dig in there. But there's also a file in there that lists every service that has this avatar, because I update it twice a year because I have a Christmas version.
And you have to remember where they're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a list of every single URL I need to go to go and update it on assorted services.
Matt, you need to have a Disney version, so when you go to Disney World, it just has your mouse ears.
I might have to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone.
There's actually a data science Disney conference that I'm looking into. I'm like, it's at the same place we had Shark Week. It's at Coronado Springs.
Oh.
Disney Tech is amazing, because they will throw money at a problem. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Whenever, it's really nice whenever you have unlimited amounts of money. You can solve a lot of really cool things.
You can.
Yeah.
Or you can buy Twitter.
What's on your mind,
if
Matt?
anything, like Elon Musk hasn't given us anything like Space Mountain.
Yeah,
you're right.
So
what's on my mind? I don't know. I tweet. There's been a series of salty tweets from my account this week.
I like how you say that like it's not you in control of that.
Yeah.
Someone did this. I don't know how it happened.
Someone tweeted those, and I can't say it was me. I don't know. I'm not a fan of GitLab currently. This is a PSA to you. If you do OAuth integration with GitLab, check that you support refresh tokens, because GitLab 15 makes OAuth tokens expire. They've gone from OAuth tokens never expiring to needing to be refreshed every 2 hours.
What?
What?
Which,
What?
yes, you should support refresh tokens in your code. It's
Yes.
part of the OAuth spec.
Not every 2 hours.
But also 2 hours is a lot.
But also, since the beginning of GitLab's history, for 14 versions, OAuth tokens have never expired. So if you're like me, a bit of a lazy developer, you probably just didn't bother writing refresh support and didn't store the refresh tokens.
Not
And
every
now
2
suddenly,
hours.
all your and also, not only do they now expire every 2 hours, all the existing tokens that wouldn't have expired all got revoked.
Wow. I wonder how many pipelines went down doing that.
So yeah.
Everyone's saying they can see your face.
Oh, there we go. Someone's found it. So yeah, I'm very salty about that situation with OAuth. And then the other thing that's really annoying is that their GraphQL API, if you give it an invalid or expired token, doesn't error. It just returns public results. It just assumes you're not authenticated if you give it an invalid token. Silently just goes, oh, well, that's invalid. We'll just send you back normal results anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, I've had an interesting week with GitLab.
Well.
So yeah, I'm sorry, GitLab, that I had to tweet some angry stuff at you, but please do better.
That's also like the first time you said you tweeted that and not my Twitter account happened.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so why are you playing around with the GitLab API? Is it Hacktoberfest season already?
Oh yes, I'm working on Hacktoberfest stuff, cleaning up the code from last year, and it's a damn good thing that I did. Otherwise, this would have gone into production broken.
Well.
But yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's Hacktoberfest season, which
Yeah.
is weird to say because it's May.
May. It's coming. I got reached out to by Phoebe to be on the board, so now
Yeah.
I have to do that.
It's weird. We're actually
I
doing
mean-
things, planning things in advance.
Well, we usually do that. There was just one year. Last year was just a really different year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, whenever I was here for 2020, we were pretty on top of stuff.
Yeah, reasonably.
It was it was reasonably on top of stuff, and then things.
But I'll say this much: the design for Hacktoberfest mostly exists already.
Oh,
Ooh.
did they take my advice and go back to the year that we like?
I won't say anything further because I'm not sure I meant to say things.
Well, you can tell
I'll
me
just-
when we're done. When we're done streaming, you can talk to me about
Yeah, I'll just say that we're actually doing things ahead of schedule this year, which is exciting and enjoyable.
it. When you have someone who's dedicated to it, yeah, it really.
Yeah.
When you have a staff member whose job it is to do the job, believe it or not, the job gets done.
Shocker.
That was the spiciest thing I've said today.
I'm not sure that's true.
And with that, we will round out what's on your mind and start to end the show. Wind everything up. So, upcoming events. What is happening in the next week?
Oh, it's my first tech talk. Because everyone is either out of the office or at Gretel now. So it's me. I'll be building a URL shortener with PHP and Redis.
Oh, exciting!
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice of technologies.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
I think. So there is a DO community one. I don't know if it's on the community, if it's on my demos. I did the same thing with Python and Redis.
I think
saw
it's on
your
the
video.
community account.
Yeah, is it on the community account? Yeah, I don't
think
know where.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think it was one of the sample apps we used for App Platform. We were building App Platform,
Yes. It's basically the same thing, but in PHP.
but
So
in
it's going to
PHP,
be-
yeah.
So it's going to be a little more difficult because there are quirks. So, yay! And also, it's going to be done in mostly the CLI. So that's going to be fun.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm going to be using the Slim API framework just because I don't feel like dealing with requests right now or anywhere in my life.
And what's
Yeah, I should get that written for my and get one of those quit plex for well, I'm not handling requests right now.
what's the date and time for said Tech Talk?
Tuesday. It's Tuesday sometime There's a sign-up sheet
24th.
somewhere.
24th.
Probably. Yeah, the 24th. I'm not going to be busy that day. I'll be fine.
It's in your calendar, right?
Yeah, sure. It'll be there.
There we go. So that's coming up. I think other than that, it's just we'll be back here next Thursday once again.
Credit still works though, even though it's not maintained.
Now, I don't actually know who's hosting the show next week, but I'll be here. I'm sure someone
And
else
I'll
will
be here.
So maybe just 2 of us next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
But with that, it's time for joke of the day. Who's reading it?
I'll read it.
Go for it.
I wrote it. I didn't write it. I found it on the internet. What's the best thing about UDP jokes? I don't care if you get them, which frankly is my energy right now. Which feels bad considering how many puns had like scrolled through chat to this week.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
really punny chat today.
It was a pun heavy episode.
I think we'll wrap it up with this. Airbox asks, when are you back, Mason?
I'm back whenever I get invited back, pretty much. Most of the time, I'm pretty free.
We're gonna
I,
see you in a couple weeks, and we're going to try to drop in an episode if internet with notwithstanding. And it would be really weird if we were all doing a thing together, and I said, "No, we're gonna try this. You stand there right off frame, real quick, while we do a thing." So that might be cool if we can get it to work technologically.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll
I
have.
don't know anything about the space.
We'll definitely have Mason back on some future episodes. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'll be back. Trust me, I'm not going anywhere.
It's always very enjoyable to have Mason's spicy takes. To
Always.
our chats.
Yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter for more of them. Also, pay attention to what I'm doing at Gretel because, like, synthetic data is pretty cool stuff. Like, I had never heard of it, and now I'm like really into it.
Yeah. So, because Mason's here, final plug. Gretel.ai is where you can find what Mason works on now. And if you want to find Mason, it's twitter.com/Mason Egger.
Yep. I'm very, very easy to find. Like Amy said with the Instagram. Like when you're a developer advocate, you make yourself as easy to find as possible.
Alrighty. And with that, I think we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining. As always, we'll see you in the same bad place, same bad time next week. See you then.
See you then.